Good day, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to this episode of the Outdoor Gear Review. I just made it here to Lone Wolf Mountain, and let me tell you, there's two things. The sky is very dark. It's actually beginning to rain, and it is humid, like really, really humid. I'm going to grab my phone and we'll check the radar real quick. Okay, right now the radar shows absolutely nothing. So whatever this is must have been popping up in the last 5 minutes before the radar refreshes. I'm not seeing anything too intimidating at this moment, so I will go ahead, set up the tent real quick, as fast as I can with this tent. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. We might as well set up some shelter just in case we need it. This, my friends, is the OneTigris Nebula tent, and it is different. It's very, very different. Yes, my friends, there's this many poles with this tent. In fact, there's 8 poles to be specific. And in truth, to set this up fully, you need 10. To me, folks, there is nothing more irritating than tangled cords. With this tent here, it has a ton of guy lines. So having tangled cords, it's a good possibility that you'll have this every single time you go to set up this tent. A few moments ago, I alluded to this tent being difficult to set up or taking time to set up. As I go about this process, while it will look quick on the camera because of the cuts, in truth, this is not a quick tent to set up. In fact, it's quite complicated and it takes time. Everyone, this is the Nebula tent from OneTigris. It is definitely interesting, it is definitely different. Basically what we have here is a shell. On the inside of the tent there's no bug protection. You do have some mesh doors that will keep out flying insects, but anything that's on the ground or that goes underneath the tent can get in. Lucky for me, it's still early in the year, so bugs, they're not that big of an issue. Ticks are my biggest concern, and because of that, I'm going to lay down a canvas sheet that's been treated with permethrin, and then I'll put my cot on top of it. One very interesting aspect to this tent, it includes a ground sheet, and the ground sheet buckles into the inside of the tent. So it does limit the amount of bugs coming in, but it's not going to eliminate the bugs. Camp is fully set up. We were able to do that while no rain was falling, luckily. It's kind of funny, like as soon as we pulled in, it began to rain, and since then it's slacked off. Sunny, cloudy, that's been the pattern. Right now, it's cloudy, feels pretty good, there's a nice breeze, but man, or lady, it is so humid. It's incredibly humid. I guess I better get used to this, right? Summertime temperatures, summertime humidity here in the South. That's one of the things that I love the most about the West. Head out to the mountains, to the desert. Yeah, it's hot, but it's a dry heat. Right now it's about 72 degrees. I'm not sure of the humidity, but it is high. The air is so thick, you can almost cut it with a knife, as the saying goes. With the OneTigris tent, everyone, I'm not going to put a tarp over the top of this, not yet. I'm going to see how well it performs in the rain and then go from there. I do not think this is going to perform very well. The company didn't include any additional fabric with the vestibule, so I don't think it's going to cover the door once it's set up. so when it's raining, the rain should fall right into the tent. That's my assumption at the moment. If it rains, we'll find out whether or not I'm right. Talking about this tent, this is interesting, isn't it? This is the OneTigris Nebula tent, and as you can see here, it's just a shell. It does have the ground sheet which clips in on the inside. That's going to limit bugs, as I mentioned before, but it's not going to prevent them really from coming in. That's why I have that green canvas mat. That mat has been treated with permethrin. It's going to kill any bug, any insect that comes into contact with it. The cot is on top of it, and that's going to prevent ticks from crawling up. I promise you all, there's a ton of ticks out here. You could take a white sheet, drag it across the ground here, and I bet you we could get 30 or 40 just like that. The one thing that we don't have in the area are mosquitoes. I don't know how I got so lucky, but it is what it is. In this area, no mosquitoes, and that's nice. Well, I'll tell you what, everyone. Let's go ahead, let's make some coffee, then we'll check out the weather, and we'll decide what to do next. I just received a notification saying that rain was going to begin here in a few minutes. It looks possible. We are the blue dot down here. Looks like there's some showers developing. We'll see if it rains. Maybe, maybe not. To be on the safe side, I'll go ahead and shut up the truck. And if I need to, I can also shut up this tent. Let's try the coffee, folks. Cheers, my friends. Cheers. Oh yeah. The big question is whether or not it's going to rain. I'm hearing some thunder, but I haven't looked at the radar yet, so I'm not sure exactly where it's going. There's definitely a cell out there. I'm not even going to look. We'll just see what happens. But for now, I'm going to enjoy the coffee, enjoy the sound of the thunder, and I figured we can talk for a bit. In a recent video, I was talking about an injury that I had to my left foot, and I've had numerous questions about this. Many have wondered how it's doing, and it's okay. Plain and simple, it's okay. It's one of those things where it's going to take a long time to heal up. Oh, man. Whew. God, that hurts. It's right here on the heel. That's what hurts. I'm not going to complain about it, but without a doubt, it is slowing me down just a little bit. I've been dealing with this injury for a few months now. I did go to the doctor. They said it involved like micro tears and a band in the bottom of my foot. Unfortunately, there's nothing that can be done other than just letting it heal on its own. So, yep, it is what it is. I'll do what I can. I'll do my best. Forget the rest. That's my motto. as far as the weather goes, I'm actually beginning to feel some raindrops. And it sounds like the thunder is getting closer. Because of that, let's move all of this back just a little bit and let's close this back door. All right, everyone, it is now raining. Let's see how well this tent performs. I'm hearing thunder, and I have been for the last 20 minutes or so. All right, everybody, we're inside of the tent. It's pouring outside. Let me tell you all this. It is so hot, so humid inside of this shelter. It's crazy. Like, I'm absolutely miserable right now. The reasoning for that is pretty simple. There's absolutely no airflow inside of this tent. When the vestibules are up, unfortunately, they're not really wide enough to protect the front entrance here. And of course, that applies to both vestibules. With the vents, there's no cover over these. So if it's raining outside, they have to be closed. Otherwise, water will get inside of the tent. Here's another issue. When it's raining outside, the mesh doors need to be zipped up 100%. Otherwise, the rain coming off of the fly will actually go inside of your tent. And that's because when it's not zipped up, the bathtub floor lays completely flat. And all of the water coming off of the fly comes inside of the tent. I've taken the last maybe 10 minutes or so. Luckily I had a towel with me, and I've basically been soaking up water. I've had huge puddles of water inside of this tent, and it's all because it's just running off of the fly down to the floor and inside of the tent. Of course, folks, I'm talking about using this tent in a 3-season sort of perspective. If you want to use this in the wintertime with snow, these cons may not matter. But as it stands right now, this is a product that people will use in the summertime, and I don't blame them. The thing is this, if you're going to use it in the summertime in the rain, you're going to need to put a tarp over at least half of this. The vestibules are for blocking sun, and that's it. They do not block the rain from falling into the tent. And also, the rain coming off of the top of the tent will fall straight into the tent itself. So again, if you plan to use this in the rain, you will need a tarp over at least half of it. Update time, folks. About an hour has passed. I'm soaked in sweat inside of this tent. I did just check the radar. It looks like the rain is coming to an end. As soon as I can get out of here, I'm going to the truck, grabbing a tarp, and I will set that up over the top of this. That way, I don't have to be inside of this tent with it sealed up when it's raining. As I mentioned earlier today, I thought you would have to have a tarp over the top of this, and I was correct. But I had to test it out. I had to make sure. And just like that, my friends, the rain is over. You gotta love it. There is a good chance for more rain tonight and also tomorrow, so I went ahead, I put the tarp up. As it stands, this is a very large tent, but I wish the company made it taller so you can stand up inside of it. I mean, it's already a large tent. Why not just make it a little bit taller, you know what I mean? I mean, if you didn't have to bend over, if you didn't have to hunch over to enter and exit it, if you could stand up underneath the vestibule, that would be so sweet. But as is, you cannot do that. But luckily, with a tarp overhead, you can stand up and you can stay dry at the same time. My friends, what I have here is an Italian sausage pasta with marinara and mozzarella on top. The mozzarella here is special. It is dairy-free. I was at a friend's house the other night. We were having dinner, and his wife has like special dietary needs. She can't eat dairy. So we were eating this meal that had dairy-free cheese in it, and it absolutely blew my mind. Dairy-free cheese is incredible. It's so creamy. The other night we had some mozzarella sticks, dairy-free, and they were the best ever. Generally, I don't even like them, but oh my gosh, they were fantastic. Next time you're making something that has cheese in it, go look for some dairy-free. You'll love it. So let's go ahead and give this a shot. The truth is, I need a shovel. This fork isn't doing it for me, but whatever. That is amazing. I really do need a shovel. This fork is way too small. I'm one of those people who make eating look awkward. The only time I've ever seen myself eat is on video here, and every single time it looks so awkward to me. It's like the first time I've ever eaten before. That's what it looks like. Like I've lived in some sort of like bubble or something. Just like IV fluid and that's it. Sorry folks, I apologize. Even that bite seemed awkward for some reason. I don't know. I tell you what everyone, before I shut off the camera and just focus on eating here, let's talk about my buddy Tony at AB Camping. If you haven't seen his YouTube channel, make sure to go over there, check it out, subscribe, he's a good dude. Man, my heart goes out to him. It's been some time, but his dog passed away, Bruce. And man, I've been there numerous times and my heart goes out to him. It's one of those things where I wanted to take some time, just let that heal up a little bit before I mention anything, before I say anything. It was looking like we were going to be able to meet up until my son came home and he brought COVID home with him. Now, luckily, he's not really feeling bad. He had the sniffles and he had some sort of like test kit that the college gave him. So he tested positive for COVID. Susie decided to test and she tested positive for COVID. I tested, I was negative. Susie tested again, she was negative. Our son tested again, he was positive. So, I don't know. Does anyone have COVID? I have no idea. Nonetheless, because of the nonsense with COVID, we decided not to meet up. Or at least I decided not to. I don't want to take the chance, get him sick while he's traveling, get anyone sick, you know what I mean? So, we've been laying low until everybody tests negative, I guess. I'm not even sure exactly what the protocol is right now. I mean, COVID is no longer a big deal, so I don't know. I really don't want to talk about it, so let's don't talk about it. All that I know is that I feel fine. Susie feels fine. Our son, he did have the sniffles, but he's better now, so I don't know. As you walk in here, it's raining. And it's been raining for about 20 minutes or so. Saying it's raining might be too generous. This is like the lightest rain of all time. That's a little bit more fitting, I think. As it stands now, it is 8:20. The sun's going down. And if it stops raining, we'll have a fire. I guess I could actually have a fire no matter what. I do have some dry wood in some bags up here. Now this is a nice way to end the evening. Sitting around a fire, an easy fire. It's nice when you don't have to gather the firewood and it's dry. It's getting kind of hazy, kind of foggy. It's cool. It's damp. The humidity is super, super high. But nonetheless, it's a very nice evening. It's just me, you, the crickets. The rain has stopped. It's nice, folks. Recently in a video I mentioned that I wanted to go to Japan, and this year Susie and I, we might just do it. Susie and I want to go to Japan to hike Mount Fuji. Yes, it is a beautiful place. Yes, it is super, super busy. But that's something that's on my bucket list. I've always wanted to do it, and with that being the case, this year we might just make it happen. When I was a kid, my father, he bought me a puzzle at a yard sale. The cover of the box was completely torn up, so I had no idea what the puzzle was. And so like one summer, I was kind of bored. I decided to put this puzzle together. So I started putting it together, and it didn't take long for me to discover that the puzzle was round. You know, kept working on it, and it was a huge puzzle. I mean, it was gigantic, right? I had that thing in the middle of my bedroom floor for months. Anytime that I had some free time, I would work on it. Over time, putting it together, and it's this mountain. And it's surrounded by all these beautiful flowers, and I believe there was a body of water on it. Eventually, I got it done, with the exception of one piece. There was one piece missing from that puzzle that my dad bought from a yard sale for like 25 cents. So once I got it together, I asked my dad, what is this place? It's the most beautiful mountain, the most beautiful place I've ever seen. And he told me it was Mount Fuji in Japan. He knew what it was. So since that point in time, I've wanted to go to Mount Fuji. It's on my bucket list. I've thought about that place my entire life. It's kind of funny how something as simple as a puzzle can influence you. You know what I mean? I cannot believe that puzzle was missing a piece. I'm not over it. That puzzle took me forever to put together. And not only that, but I had to like be careful around it because my bedroom was so small. Like that puzzle took up a good portion of the floor, so for months I was having to be careful around it. It's funny. I guess you could say that I learned a thing or two by putting that puzzle together. It taught me patience, taught me how to be careful. It taught me that Japan is beautiful, or at least Mount Fuji is. And it also taught me not to buy puzzles from yard sales. That's a bad idea. Good evening, everyone. It's about 11 o'clock. I just wrapped it up with the fire, and now it's time for bed. It really has been a good day. We had some thunderstorm action, a wonderful evening. It is sopping wet though. The humidity is sky high, the dew point's really high, so it's like incredibly foggy outside. It kind of sounds like it's raining, but it's not. It's just water falling off the trees. It's still warm enough that I'm going to leave the front door open, including the mesh, and I'll just lay here and go to sleep. And if it gets cold, I'll close it. We'll see what happens. It shouldn't do any more raining tonight. Rain should be coming in tomorrow afternoon. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is 7:30. It's a beautiful morning, nice and cool. Super wet, super humid, but it's beautiful. It's insane how green this place is. I just got back from the Utah desert where there was nothing green out there. What a difference. Cheers, everyone. Cheers. That is a good cup of coffee. I mixed some 3-in-1 espresso, max espresso, I guess, Cafe Bustelo, and this stuff, it's weird. This is from Vita Cup, and it's what they call their Genius Blend. The thing about this is it has cinnamon in it, and adding cinnamon to your coffee is very interesting. That's the only way to put it. It's very interesting. I like it. It's really good, actually. Genius Blend. Am I going to feel smarter after this cup of coffee? I doubt it. I slept good last night, but I slept hard, you know what I mean? So like this morning, I don't feel all that rested. Sometimes that's just how it goes, I guess. As for the weather today, right now it is 57 degrees. You can hear the moisture falling from the trees. It's kind of foggy. More rain is on the way. It's going to be a wet next couple of days. By the way, everyone, people ask me about this watch all the time. This is the Garmin Instinct. This is the first version. I think there's a version 2 right now. For the most part, they're the same watch. The version 2, I believe, has better solar panels built into it. That is one of the interesting features to this. It's like the top face here is actually a solar panel. So when you're out in sunlight, it will charge the watch. This is a smartwatch. It has built-in GPS, all that good stuff, heart rate monitor, so on and so forth. As far as the smart features go for this watch, I use basically none of them. I like using the GPS, and that's pretty much it. I will use it for temperature data, but it connects to your phone and only works when you have service. So oftentimes, it doesn't work. And that's because I live out in the middle of nowhere. And oftentimes, my adventures are out in the middle of nowhere. Overall, I like this watch quite a bit. But as I mentioned before, I don't generally use the smart features. Like for an example, like you can get your text messages on this, your emails on this, and so on. But like looking at it, replying to stuff, like it's almost archaic. I've talked about this watch before, and I think I said it's like using a scientific calculator. That's absolutely accurate. I do like the fact that it has an altimeter built into it, so it does tell you the elevation. It will also tell you when the barometric pressure is dropping, which is a good indication of a front coming in. Rain, storms may be on the way. Overall, I do like the watch quite a bit, but as far as smartwatches go, there's much better out there, in my opinion. Now, this is interesting, folks. You may be familiar with the outdoor company or outdoor store called Moose Jaw, right? Moose Jaw is an online retailer that sells backpacking gear, camping gear, clothing, so on and so forth. So back in 2017, Walmart purchased Moose Jaw, and it turns out that in February of this year, 2023, they sold it to Dick's Sporting Goods. Oh no. That can't possibly be a good thing. Anyways, my friends, let's talk about this tent for a second. This was only one trip out with it. I plan to do more testing. Let me word it like this. This is a complicated tent to set up, and it's also a complicated tent to keep dry. I will have to do more testing with it. The fact that you can't have the vestibule up in rain absolutely sucks. You have to have a tarp over the top. I mean, if you have to seal this thing up in the summertime, it's so hot in there. There's so little airflow. You have the vents on the sides, but you can't have them open. But then again, this is part of the Black Tigris series from OneTigris, and that means this is more of a 4th season tent. And that does need to be kept in mind. With that being said, the overall design of this tent really does speak for 3-season use. Unfortunately, the company brought this tent to the market in the springtime, so I can't test it out in snow or anything like that. So I figured we'll go ahead, test it out this year, we'll see how it performs in the rain, and we'll do additional testing this winter. Listen to all of those birds. This morning when I was waking up, I was listening to turkeys out in the forest. They were all over the place. It's kind of funny, yesterday when I pulled in here, there was a turkey right on the edge of the brush. That's funny. Alright everyone, I'm going to say goodbye for now. I'm going to finish up this coffee. I have a bar here which I will eat as I break everything down. Thank you all so much for joining me for this trip. I really appreciate it. It's good to be back. Back to filming storm and rain adventures. I know what you like. I know what you like. I do have some shout outs to give. So Gene and Joyce, thank you very much for the book. Paul, thank you very much for the Gas One pouch. That is pretty sweet. And thank you so much for sharing all of the information concerning Japan. I definitely have some questions for you. Lassie, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, but thank you so much for all of the information that you shared concerning foot pain. I really do appreciate it, and I'm going to try out what you suggested. As far as the foot goes, right now it's okay. Last night it was hurting me pretty bad. It is what it is though. But yeah, everyone, I am done. Thank you very much for joining me for this trip. If you had a good time, hit the thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. You can join the wolf pack. Be well, folks. I'll see you again soon. I can't say that I feel any smarter after drinking this genius blend, but it is good though. It makes me wonder, can you just add cinnamon to your coffee? Would that taste the same? Or would that be disgusting? I don't know. Let's find out. You find out. Let me know. Cheers, everyone. Cheers.